Admit it. The Strange Tale of Depsey the Rabbit. Chapter 27. The Search for Friends. The enhanced city moved with mechanical precision around him. Even the back alleys, once chaotic tangles of forgotten props and discarded dreams, now formed perfect right angles. Graffiti decorated every surface, but it all said the same thing in the same neat handwriting. Enhancement is progress. Trash cans stood at mathematically precise intervals, their contents sorted by material and purpose. No rats scurried between the buildings. No pigeons left their chaotic droppings on the perfect pavement. No uncontrolled life existed anywhere. Worse than the geometric perfection were the posters. His own face smiled down from every surface, cartoon eyes bright with artificial enthusiasm. Depsey says, "Enhancement is progress," declared banners stretched across building facades. "Join Depsey in the future of entertainment," urged billboards at major intersections. His likeness had been appropriated, transformed into propaganda for the very system his murders had enabled. Depsey tried to move with the synchronized rhythm of the enhanced, but his cartoon physics operated on different principles. Where others flowed in predetermined patterns, he bounced and hopped according to emotional state and dramatic necessity. The irregularity of his movement began attracting attention from the patrol units stationed at major intersections. "Citizen requires calibration," observed an enhanced security officer, her voice carrying the mechanical precision of Dr. Dinglegreen's work. "Movement patterns indicate non-optimal efficiency." Depsey ducked into a storm drain as the patrol approached, pressing himself against the curved concrete wall. Above him, precise footsteps clicked past in perfect unison. Through the grate, he could see their shadows, geometrically spaced, moving at identical speeds, turning corners with mechanical precision. They were searching for him, but their enhanced logic couldn't predict the erratic path of genuine cartoon physics. Something was wrong with his appearance. He could feel it in the way shadows fell differently around him, in how his reflection looked more solid, more defined than cartoon characters should appear. The rift had changed him, made him more real in ways that would be difficult to explain to friends who might already doubt his identity. When the patrol passed, he emerged and continued toward the old rehearsal space. The building stood marked with official notices. "Scheduled for enhancement, property of Broadcasting Development Authority." Construction barriers surrounded the structure, their yellow warning signs declaring "Improvement coming soon," in cheerful fonts that made the threat feel like a promise. Most of the windows had been boarded up with standard enhancement department plywood, but the basement windows remained accessible. Someone had covered them with what looked like random debris, but Depsey's experienced eye recognized Chuck's engineering touch. The seemingly haphazard pile of props and trash actually formed a sophisticated concealment system, designed to look abandoned while providing both protection and escape routes. Depsey waited, timing the patrol cycles until he identified a safe approach window. 17 minutes between sweeps. Chuck would have calculated that precise timing. The basement modifications showed his friend's typical over-engineering of simple problems. What should have been a basic hidden door had become an elaborate security system incorporating cartoon physics solutions. Behind the stage prop storage, Depsey found the entrance Chuck had constructed. The passage required specific movements, a pratfall here, a theatrical gesture there, that only someone familiar with cartoon logic could perform. Enhanced security would have analyzed the movements as random actions and ignored them. But for Depsey, the sequence felt like coming home. The basement had been transformed into a living space that spoke of long-term habitation and desperate purpose. Walls bore the evidence of Chuck's obsessive research. Maps of broadcasting tower locations connected by string timeline charts, tracking enhancement procedures and disappearances, photographs of enhanced performers with handwritten notes about their original personalities. Complex diagrams attempted to decode the transformation process, each theory more elaborate than the last. Lucy's corner of the space told a different story. She had created a comfort zone filled with props and costumes from their innocent show days, handmade dolls representing their lost friends, and journal entries documenting daily life in hiding. Prayer-like lists covered one wall, names of missing performers with notes hoping they were still themselves somewhere. But there were signs of recent activity. Still warm teacups sat on Chuck's research table. Fresh notes indicated they had been tracking news of his return. An escape bag sat half-packed by the back exit, suggesting they knew he was back, but weren't sure if he was still himself. Most shocking were their discoveries about him personally. They had found additional letters in his dressing room after he disappeared. They had connected his elimination assignments across 20 years of systematic murder. They understood he was a serial killer, but their notes showed they also recognized the coercion involved. Handwritten debates filled the margins, whether to fear him or try to save him when he returned. A sudden alarm pierced the silence. Chuck's voice emerged from hidden speakers throughout the space. Identify yourself. The security system he had rigged from old broadcasting equipment required specific responses. Personal questions only the real Depsey would know, mixed with more painful inquiries designed to distinguish between genuine personality and enhanced replacement. What did Lucy wear to the first show? Chuck's recorded voice asked. Her blue dress with the white collar, Depsey answered to the empty room. The one that made her feel like a real princess. What's Chuck's favorite theory about cartoon physics? That laughter generates actual energy that can be measured and harnessed for practical applications. Chuck emerged first from their concealment, hands visible and non-threatening. His bright yellow body had grown thinner, more angular. Constant paranoia had changed his posture, and he moved with the careful precision of someone who had learned to expect danger from every shadow. Lucy followed, ready to run if needed. Her porcelain surface had lost some of its luster. Her crown bore chips from their underground ordeal, and her usually immaculate clothes showed the wear of weeks in hiding. But her eyes still held the kindness that had first drawn them together as friends. The reunion felt wrong. They stared at each other across a distance that had nothing to do with the physical space between them. You look different, Chuck observed, his scientific mind automatically cataloging changes. More real somehow. Like the cartoon lines are darker, more defined. That's exactly what enhanced versions look like. We thought you were dead, Lucy added softly, but her position near the escape route remained unchanged. I thought you'd be enhanced by now, Depsey replied, then immediately regretted the words. They sounded too much like something an enhanced version might say to probe for information. Chuck took a step back. Enhanced performers have perfect access to original memories. You knowing about the letters doesn't prove anything. Your cartoon physics are slightly off, Lucy added, her gentle voice carrying an edge of fear. You move more like them. Depsey felt desperation rising. How could he prove he was still himself when he wasn't entirely sure that was true? The rift had changed him in ways he didn't fully understand. I know what I look like. I know how I sound, but I came back for you. I came back because you're the only real thing I have left. That's exactly what an enhanced version would be programmed to say, Chuck replied, his analytical nature now working against recognition. Perfect emotional manipulation. The real Depsey would be more frightened, Lucy observed, studying his demeanor. More guilty, you seem controlled. The accusation hit harder than any physical blow. I'm different because I've seen things. Horrible things. I know what we're really up against now. Enhanced performers often return with knowledge, Chuck countered. It's part of their function. They circled each other warily, friends who could no longer trust their own recognition. Every word Depsey spoke to prove his identity could equally prove he was an enhanced replacement with perfect access to original memories. "We know about the letters," Chuck said finally. "All 43 of them." "We know about Mr. Muffins and the others," Lucy added, her voice carrying both sympathy and suspicion. "Then you know what I am," Depsey replied, hoping honesty might break through their doubt. "Yes," Chuck said carefully, "but we don't know what you are now." The weight of their suspicion pressed down on him. After everything he had survived, everything he had learned, he might lose his only friends, not to his crimes, but to their reasonable fear that he was no longer himself. Lucy stepped forward slightly, her natural role as mediator asserting itself despite her caution. "If you're really Depsey, prove it. Tell us something only he would know. Something they couldn't have programmed." Depsey opened his mouth, then closed it. What could he say that wouldn't sound rehearsed? What memory could he share that hadn't already been exposed in their research? The blood money had suppressed so much of his genuine emotion for so long that even he wasn't sure what authentic feeling looked like anymore. He began, then stopped. The words felt insufficient, too small for the gulf between them. Chuck and Lucy exchanged a look, a silent communication between friends who had learned to survive by trusting only each other. In that moment, Depsey realized how completely he had isolated himself from genuine human connection. Even his oldest friends now looked at him like a potential threat.